Program Director at Knight Foundation. So I had been a reporter for 10 years, nearly 10 years here in Miami. First at the Daily Business Review and then for almost 8 years at the Miami Herald. And the opportunity came up to move over to Knight Foundation to become Miami Program Director. And you know, it just struck me as a very unique opportunity to, while being my nearly 10 years of being a reporter, Miami had become home. Miami had become a place that I really loved. And I got married here to my wife, Danette, who you've met. We bought a home here, and just Miami, sort of the story of Miami, became something that I became so attached to. Just a place where there's such an enormous sense of possibility in a city that's sort of at such a formative stage of its growth. And so coming to Knight Foundation struck me as a unique opportunity to have a role and trying to do some good in our city. And so I took made the leap to Knight Foundation. I really think that there is an opportunity around entrepreneurship, to use entrepreneurship as a tool really to build community. The thinking is that launching a focus on better connecting and propelling and supporting this emerging community of entrepreneurs in Miami to help build this sort of entrepreneurial ecosystem that provides the resources and supports for entrepreneurs to build their ideas here. And sort of the goal of it is to help make Miami more of a place where ideas are built, to help make Miami more of a place where entrepreneurs who are launching new ventures and ideas have all the tools and resources to do it here. And the bet is that if we could do that, be helpful in doing that well, it would lead to important community benefits. Things like talent retention and attraction, things like expanded opportunity, things like creating a greater sense of place and possibility, things like fostering a greater community of problem solvers where people feel that they have sort of the tools and resources to pursue the ideas that they choose to pursue. And so with that, off we went on this effort. I think it's probably worth saying that what we're seeing around the world is, putting it very basically, but as the cost to create go down, the ability to act and do is going up. And that's why we're seeing around the world sort of these new startup communities begin to emerge. And our thinking is that Miami really has a lot of the elements really required to build and nurture a successful center of a successful community of high impact entrepreneurship and innovation. And so, of course, what are those elements, right? I guess would be the next question. Number one, Miami is highly entrepreneurial. We often lose sight of that. Kauffman Foundation does a study called the Index of Entrepreneurial Activity. Each of the last 5 years, Miami's ranked top 5 per capita, right? The psychology of launching, doing, risking, that's very much in the Miami DNA, right? Furthermore, we're seeing some really, really important trends around the fact that the growth of the urbanization of Miami, number one. I think there's a real connection between strong entrepreneurial environments and strong sort of cities that have built really strong urban cores. Miami's done that. Furthermore, Miami has created, there's a real connection, it appears, between strong entrepreneurial environments and strong creative environments. Miami, we've become a center of art and culture, right? Furthermore, Miami has become a global city. It's become so international. Right? I mean, the fact that for strong startup communities to work, diversity I think is really key, right? And a great differentiator for Miami. And Miami has, Miami, over half the population is foreign-born. More than 3/4 of them must come from someplace else. Miami is a place, sort of where there's this amazing sort of convergence. And the thinking was we can leverage each of these trends and furthermore, we're seeing successes here already. We're seeing examples of startup success. And the thinking is that we can try, if we can be helpful in trying to build the network, not actually using foundation dollars to invest in entrepreneurs themselves, but to create the resources, create the places the mentor and funder networks, to create a rich calendar of and varied calendar of events of different kinds, for all creating the supports, all these different things that help entrepreneurs, right, that to build the ideas that they wish to pursue. So Knight Foundation, our mission is promoting informed and engaged communities. We work in journalism and media innovation, we work in the arts, and we have our Communities and National Initiatives program. Now, in each of our so-called Knight cities, and those are the cities where the Knight brothers, our founders, used to publish newspapers, we come up with locally tailored community initiatives in those cities. And so the program, as program director, I'm charged with coming up with a locally tailored community-focused strategy here in Miami. And that was my task when I got here. We had an opportunity to come up with a new community focus in Miami, along with our ongoing work in the arts and journalism and media innovation. And actually, when I walked in, our CEO, Alberto Ibargüen, said to me, who had been publisher of the Miami Herald, I'd worked for him there previously, Alberto said to me, go talk to people for 4 months and come back and tell me what we should do next in Miami. It was this really unique opportunity. And so as a reporter, I thought, I know how to talk to people. And so off I went on sort of this several months of discovery and thinking about sort of what's that next thing that we should focus on alongside our ongoing work in the arts and journalism and media innovation. We think that there are certain, we're seeing lots of efforts around the world in cities to build strong startup and entrepreneurial communities. We do think that there's some differentiators here in Miami that really sort of make this a place that can be sort of uniquely successful. And so, sure, highly international, right? So the fact that we are a place that's home to so many people from so many different places. Geography, right? The fact that we sort of sit at a crossroads between Latin America, Europe, and the Caribbean, and North America, right? And so we're at this convergence point. So I think those are, furthermore, I should mention another thing. We're asking sort of the elements around sort of the why focus on entrepreneurship. What are some of those sort of macro trends? Another thing really important to keep in mind is the fact that Miami has really built this. There was a study done, and one community one goal study, in fact, that found that that Miami is 7th per capita in number of college students in a metropolitan area, right? So, and I can direct you to the page, but the thinking is that now Miami has really, a lot of people wouldn't think of Miami as a center of higher education, yet it's built this really interesting critical mass. And so, and if you look at, FIU, I think, check the numbers, but we're over 50,000 students. Miami-Dade College, over 160,000 students, the largest campus-based college in the country, and the most diverse. So that's a unique asset that Miami has. But I think the two big things are highly international and the fact our geography. And then we're highly entrepreneurial, and sort of that all wrapped together, I think, creates some real differentiators. So, as we're thinking about entrepreneurship and our effort here at Knight Foundation, we are idea agnostic, right? That is, we are trying to help people to build any idea that they're seeking to build, and that can be sort of for-profit efforts, that can be social impact efforts, that can be government innovation, right? So, and in fact, as part of our grant making, we provided a grant to help launch the first Code for America Fellows class in Florida, which is here in Miami. And that's where we have 3 fellows come and spend a year they're paired with Miami-Dade County government. They identify a particular problem to solve, a technology to address it, and then present that solution, right? And so the thinking is that sort of entrepreneurship can lead to really important innovations in government, as one example. Entrepreneurship is already leading to important innovations in things like urban mobility, right? Think about Uber, think about Lyft, things like that. Furthermore, just this past week, we completed what was called the Singularity Global Impact Competition, where we asked local entrepreneurs to come up with an idea to address sea level rise. right? So and we have two winners were selected, and they're actually going to spend 10 weeks at the Singularity Graduate Studies program in Mountain View to build that idea. So entrepreneurship comes in many forms, and it could be in solving an environmental problem, it can be social impact, it can be government innovation, and it can be also, of course, sort of what you think of oftentimes, and that's launching a for-profit business too.